And welcome to Tuesday Tales on September 16th already. My goodness, the middle of September. Fall is coming in fast and ferocious. I'm Helen Harwood-Snell. I'm an expert storyteller, a certified communication coach, and I just have this great curiosity that is fed by learning about people. So I use story to empower entrepreneurs with conversion content for everything from emails to published books. And each week I introduce to you a new guest. We learn a little bit about their business, a little bit about their personality, and then I ask them to share a story that I will turn into a business story for content that they can use. So hopefully that's something that is beneficial to them, and it's a tool for you to learn how to take everyday stories and actually use them in your business to show up authentically. So starting with my guest today, he started his entrepreneur journey at 16 years of age. I don't even think I knew what courses I wanted to take the next year in school when I was 16. He ran a profitable online supplement business and hit a roadblock at one point in his journey. He started to experience anxiety that led to procrastination and business struggles. So I introduce you today to Jesse Holmes, who now coaches procrastination to profit. We will look at his journey and how he can help you when you're stuck in your inaction. Welcome, Jesse.
Thanks for having me, Helen.
Great. I hope that overview was a pretty good summary in a few sentences
of
your whole life.
Good.
That's awesome. So I always love to start about, these podcasts off with who you are as a person. So tell me who Jesse is. I just learned a little bit before we went live that you have a 4-year-old son. Tell me a little bit more about you. What do you do for fun when you're not working on your business?
Oh, that's a great question. I got so many things. Actually, part of my practice and a lot of what I teach is I make sure that I do all my favorite things every single day. So that
I love it.
If it was the last day on earth, I at least got a little taste of all my favorite things. So it doesn't mean I'm spending, hours playing guitar or working out or things like that, but I just get a little bit of a taste every single day and compounds over time.
That's super. So what are a few of those things? You mentioned playing guitar. Do you play guitar?
I do. I do play guitar. I was in a band when I was 19 years old. We actually went on the road, recorded a couple albums, and did a tour.
Oh, fun!
With a band from Ottawa, actually, believe it or not, and another band out of Toronto. And we did a little mini tour of Southwestern Ontario. That was when I was 19, 20 years old. That was a lot of fun. But yeah, I play guitar. I like to stay in shape, work out. There's a few other hobbies that I'm interested in, but I make sure I do a little bit of everything I love every single day.
That's fantastic. What a great way to live. So tell me, who is maybe a hero or a role model for you?
One of the ones that really sticks out in my mind, his name was Tim Ferriss, who wrote the 4-Hour Workweek. I get a lot of inspiration and a lot of actually, the last business I designed was very much based on his business model that he talks about in his book. And a lot of my inspiration, my drive, my desire for being productive and all these things really came as inspiration from him. Actually, I had the pleasure of seeing him speak back in 2013, but I would love to, my goal one day would love to be a guest on his podcast.
Oh, excellent. I know that book well. I've read it myself. So based on those things, that you do for fun and how you show up in your business, tell me maybe 2 or 3 of your core values in life.
My one framework, and this is all I talk about in pretty much the business, what I talk about every single day, and what I put together in a free planner, is this principle I call easy, enjoyable every single day. Meaning, whatever it is that you're trying to grow, or you're trying to improve, whether it's in your business or life, make sure that you're able to make getting started on it or doing it as easy as possible and as enjoyable as possible, something that you can do every single day without burning out. This gives me the ability to enjoy the journey, not just the destination. All of us are, reaching for goals, reaching for bigger and better things, but it's so important that we enjoy the process, not just achieving the goal itself, but enjoying the journey itself.
That's such a great example, because I think, there's a lot of whatever it might be in life. It might be business goals. It might be somebody, who wants to produce an album, write a book, all sorts of things that, we get set on this goal. And we actually forget that it's the journey that's probably the more important part of our life. And our whole life is a journey, right? It just goes from one goal to another. And so I think that's such an important philosophy to easy, enjoyable every day. Is that, am I
That's
quoting
right.
you correctly?
That's
Yeah,
right.
love
Yes,
that.
right.
Love that. So tell us a little bit more then about what it is that you do in your business, how you help people to discover this easy, enjoyable every day and get out of procrastination mode.
Yeah, absolutely. So in every single person, especially entrepreneurs, sorry, my kid's playing downstairs. Uh, every single entrepreneur, for whatever reason, we deal with procrastination maybe more than the average person. There's a lot of more responsibilities, a lot more opportunities. We don't have to clock in and clock out, so there's a lot more on our shoulders. And so, because we're not accountable to somebody else, we're so much more responsible for our time. And with that extra added pressure to ourselves and generating our own revenue and things like that comes these fears. Because procrastination isn't a laziness issue. It's not a poor time management issue. It's actually like a nervous system issue. It's an emotional issue having to do with performance anxiety, wanting to make something perfect, or having a high expectation, or fear of failure, or self doubt, or just not knowing where to start. So what I like to do when I work with other entrepreneurs is I ask them, what's your biggest struggle with procrastination lately? And it's a subconscious thing. They might take some time to think about it, like, I'm not really a procrastinator, but there's usually something.
It's all good. It's part of being an entrepreneur. For those of you who are listening in, that's Jesse's 4-year-old son playing in the background. It's all good.
All right, sorry, he's just using the washroom.
Okay, now that's really part of life.
um, but a lot of subconscious with most entrepreneurs, if I ask them what their biggest struggle with procrastination is, they'll actually identify something that they didn't think they were procrastinating on, but it was something that they pushed away or had tucked away because they wanted to make sure they got it done right, or they had enough time for it. And so as a result of all of this, it's actually a question. It kind of brings it to the surface and help them really break it down and say, okay, this thing that you're procrastinating on, you're probably making a mountain out of a molehill. So how do we take that molehill and actually make it an anthill? Let's make it as simple and small as possible to make it easy and enjoyable to get started on it consistently every single day, so we can actually make progress and grow on those things that are really, really important to us.
That's excellent. I love that. I remember learning years ago at some kind of training conference I was at, and they were talking about procrastination and that procrastination is actually a sign of perfectionism. And I was so shocked because I never thought of myself as a perfectionist.
Mm,
But then I realized when you start looking at these things, right, that I wasn't doing something because I didn't want to not do it perfectly. I didn't want
right.
to start and finish it in the same day or whatever those things are. So I'm curious to know in your study in this area, have you found that some of the areas of procrastination crop up because as entrepreneurs we're maybe doing things that we don't feel skilled at, you know, you enter into a business and all of a sudden you have to worry about accounting or you have to worry about sales and marketing. Like, is that part of that journey that we're confronted with things that we're not expecting maybe when we start
That's
our
right.
entrepreneurial journey?
That's so true. A lot of us, we traded the 9 to 5 for a 9 to midnight because now we took on all of the roles in the business. We took on the role of the accountant and the bookkeeper and all these kind of things, and all these extra pressures, things on our plate, take us away or distract us from the things that are actually going to really make a difference in our business. And some of these things that we're procrastinating on, some procrastination is good. Maybe some of those things we should be either automating or delegating to someone who's more qualified to taking over it for our business. And the things that are really important in our business that should be our focus, oftentimes we don't get to them because we're so busy either putting out fires or juggling so many different tasks.
Right. And so is that some of the areas that you help people with as well, figuring out what they may be able to automate or delegate so that they can actually focus on their area of expertise in their business?
Absolutely. So what I like to do is I like to find what their unique ability is, what their high leverage activity is, what the thing is that they should be doing that nobody else in the business can do. And by carving out time to focus on that unique ability, that important thing that's going to make a difference in their business, they're going to realize, wait a second, this is what I should be focusing on. And the more I focus on it, the more my business grows. The more my business grows, the more I can either outsource or automate or delegate the other things that aren't as important because I'm very clear on where my focus should be.
Yes, perfect. And that's again, as an entrepreneur, that's something we can get stuck in so easily, right? Spending, 5 hours putting together a video on YouTube or making reels for Instagram or whatever that might be. That's not our area of expertise, but it's something we feel like we need to do in our business. And then all of a sudden we're down this whole, you know, rabbit hole of having to learn all these things instead of just realizing it's so much easier to just hire someone else to do it for you, right?
That's right. That's right. But even for
Uh,
those things that, we might not be professionals at, I'd really like to break it down and make it simple. Say, hey, maybe there's something that, you're just not in the place to delegate just yet. There's something that you have to take care of. I really make it
mhm.
easy for people to get started and get over that hurdle and that hump instead of them delaying on it, especially if it's something important for their business. I really just break it down as simple and easy as possible to get started on it, to build momentum, and then get clarity afterwards. So many of us, we wait for clarity before we have confidence or before we commit, but we need to flip that. We need to commit, and the clarity will come afterwards.
Yes. And so tell me a little bit more about what that process looks like. Is it a step-by-step process where you and the client kind of come to agreement on what those steps will be and how to take action? Is it like a collaborative experience?
Yeah, it's actually something I have on my website. When people go to it, they see the website there, effortlessgrowth.co. I have a free what's called a procrastination to profit planner. So it's a simple little fill in the blanks sheet, little one-page sheet that just asks you a couple questions that will walk you step by step. Okay, what is the thing I'm procrastinating on? How can I make it easy to get started? How can I make this more enjoyable so that I actually like the process and the journey? And how can I make it so I can commit to it every single day without burning out?
Excellent. And so that is effortlessgrowth.co where people
That's
can
right.
find that.
That's right.
Excellent. And so tell me a little bit more about your path, your 16-year entrepreneurship um, to where you are today. Tell us a bit about the path of how you ended up in this area of expertise around procrastination.
Absolutely. This is all stuff that I wish I would just be dying to have known or have learned far back when I first got started. These are really the real secrets that actually make a difference in the business, and they're applicable to any entrepreneur across the board. It doesn't matter what your business is. These are the things that make success possible because there's more than one way to skin a cat. Pretty much anything will work in business if I make sure that I'm committed and consistent to it. So these are things that I wish I knew when I first started my entrepreneurial journey because there's a lot of things that I was not focused on properly, or I had shiny object syndrome. And I jumped from opportunity to opportunity, or just wouldn't be clear or committed, or wouldn't stick to it, or be able to push through with even when resistance has been met. So these are all the principles and things that I wish I knew, especially getting started.
Yeah. And so that journey, it took you from was it online supplement sales, if I remember correctly?
Yeah, I actually was an offline supplement sales, but yes, for the
Offline. Okay.
last 9 years I scaled a supplement business to 8 figures, and these are all the principles that my mentor taught me about how to overcome, the fear of getting started and how to stay committed and stay focused and push through. And it was all a result of a battle that I had, and I mentioned a little bit about my own generalized anxiety disorder and how I was so frozen up and so stuck that I could hardly even, take out the garbage because I was so wrapped up in my own head. And I realized with all the principles that my mentor was teaching me and trying to build this business and all these other things, I realized when I learned how to take care of myself a little bit better, the better I felt, the better I performed. And getting out and digging out of that hole actually made me a lot more productive, a lot more focused, and a lot more actually able to get over these fears of failure, the fear of getting started, and all these kind of things. So it was that whole journey that really empowered me to now dive deeper into this new coaching business of my own.
Awesome. And that anxiety, would you say, Jesse, was it a generalized anxiety or was it very specific to your business?
It was completely generalized anxiety. It affected all areas of my life. It affected my
Mm.
relationships. It affected my performance. It affected all of my decision making, everything like that. And it just so happened that I was trying to do business at the same time.
Yeah. Well, you know what? We all have to, right? When we're doesn't matter what confronts us in life, we have to continue trying to make money somehow. So, um, yeah, I love that you have moved into that as a way to help other people because often it's our best experience that we've had. Myself helping people discover their story is because I didn't have my own voice, and so you kind of excel in the area that you have actually experienced yourself. So I love that you stepped into that. So Tell me a bit about your goals and dreams for the business that you're in now.
Right now, I am looking at continually building up my audience. So, an easy, enjoyable, everyday practice that I do is I be a guest on a podcast every single day. So that's part of me. I'm building my audience, building connections with other people that have audiences, and trying to provide value. And that's 100% my focus right now is just building my reach and audience through my social media and my email list and my own private Facebook group.
Excellent. Excellent. And so tell us, I mean, it could be any entrepreneur that struggles with these problems, but tell us kind of who would be an ideal client for you when somebody's confronting what situation? Where would they want to step in and work with you?
Yeah, that's a great question. Usually, like solopreneurs, people that have a lot of the responsibility on their shoulders. That's a lot of who I was growing up, and all my journey. It was I really tried to take on all the tasks myself. I really tried to pride myself in doing it all myself, and I had to learn, how to, outsource and have a team and take care of things, so it wasn't all on my shoulders. But for myself, an entrepreneur.
We've lost video, audio. I'm not sure if that's me or if that's Jesse. We're going to wait and see if we come back live. I think my internet's okay, so it might be Jesse's. We'll wait and see what happens.
Okay, am I back?
There we are.
Okay,
I
sorry
was
about
just
that.
trying to discover if it was mine or yours.
It's probably
So
me.
yes, so you're talking about a solopreneur who
Solopreneurs stuck in the
thinks they have to
cycle of
take on all the tasks.
taking all the tasks. They're stuck in the cycle of overwhelm and feeling stuck and burnt out, and they're starting to manifest these. We back?
This is the fun part of live. You are
Right.
back. You're back.
All right. I think everyone's getting
Um,
home from work and using the internet right now.
Yeah, maybe. So yes, so somebody who's in overwhelm, burnt out, um, and I would even say, someone who's got a plan that they just keep putting in their back pocket, right? Like
That's
I
right.
want to write a book, or I want to
That's right.
put out this new course, and there's always an excuse, and they're just always putting it off, right? Those are the kinds of things
Absolutely.
where
Someone that has
where
has
you
a
could
big
step in and help.
yeah, someone has a big dream that's really important to them, and they're just because it's such a big important dream to them, they're procrastinating on it, they're delaying on it because they're just afraid they gotta get it just perfect, just right. And I really help them break it down and actually make strides and really grow in a way that really makes it simple for them, easy for them.
Yeah, I love that. And you mentioned before, two important words, commitment and consistency. And it was just something interesting I found out myself just a few weeks ago, talking with a coach, that commitment and consistency are actually two different things. You can be
Mm,
committed to something,
that's right.
and that can be someone's style. I'm
Mhm.
I'm committed. I'm going to have this project finished by X date. Or you can have someone else who works in a manner of consistency where they say, you know what, every day I'm going to, whatever it might be, write a chapter in my book for the first half an hour of every morning, or I'm going to, manifest, or I'm going to meditate, or whatever. And that's part of my day every day. That's a consistency thing. And depending on how we show up in the world, we can actually have a commitment to something, but not actually have a consistent practice. And that's where I find myself as a creative person. And so this idea, like I can just tell you when I'm hearing about, oh, we need to take small steps every day, there's a little bit in me that makes me a bit nervous because
Mm,
that's not how I show up.
that's right.
I'm better off to say, I'm going to have a project finished by Sunday. And if I have to stay up all night Saturday night, I'll finish it. That's how I work. Um, and so do you kind of have different tricks for working with people who show up differently in that manner?
Yeah, absolutely. That's funny that you mentioned.
We're going to try and answer to that one again because I lost you again,
okay.
Jesse.
All right.
So yes,
Okay.
how do you handle somebody who has a kind of a different pattern that way, different operating pattern?
Yeah, absolutely. It's very common with a lot of us. We go via motivation, external motivation. We got a deadline, so we'll push really hard, or we'll get inspired. That's very often with creatives and things like that. Is when inspiration strikes, then I grind out, and then I got to recharge my batteries. And a lot of people, they're fine with working that way, but it's not a very sustainable practice. If you want to think of like if you want to predictable growth, that's not very predictable because it's when the mood strikes, when the deadline comes, when I get inspired or motivated, then I do the thing. It's very common in a lot of people with any goal that they achieve, they use external motivating factors to achieve a goal. What I like to do is like to look at it internally. How can I not only achieve this goal, but go far beyond this goal in a way that doesn't require motivation or a deadline or self-discipline or the grind. How can I do this so I'm going to reach new heights?
Yes,
My
I
connection's really good.
got
So
all but all but the tail end of that. So that's okay. So that's where you bring this kind of easy, enjoyable piece into it, so people don't feel like, oh, this is a consistent thing I have to do every morning between 9 o'clock and 9:30 or whatever. You set
that's
it
right.
up in a
That's
way
right.
that makes it easy and enjoyable for them. That's amazing.
That's right.
That's amazing.
That's right.
So I want to just wrap up the hour now. I love to show the audience how storytelling can actually really help bring businesses to life. And so, tying together some of these elements we've learned about you personally and business wise, I wonder if you could tell me a story that pops into your head. Could be a childhood memory, could be something that just happened last week, something outside of the business realm that's a story
Okay.
that you want to share.
Okay. Me and 5 other friends went down to Costa Rica for a surfing trip for 10 days. Um, and when we were there, we went to this beach that is known for where all the sea turtles go to lay their eggs. And so we're at this beach. It's
Okay, lost you again. So tell me, sea turtle nesting area. You're at the beach. What happened on the beach?
yeah, black sandy beach, but you wouldn't know it because it's covered in white eggshells. And so all we're seeing all these big mama turtles climb up onto the beach and dig holes to lay their eggs. And we're chasing off the vultures because the vultures are trying to eat all the baby turtles and the eggs. So we're chasing off the vultures, and now this big mama sea turtle comes up and starts digging a nest for herself. And where she's digging her nest is actually where another nest was already dug and eggs were laying. So she was actually ruining a nest of another sea turtle that
Oh,
had already been there and was laying eggs. And so me and my friends were like, "Oh, we can't have this happen." So we actually got under there, picked up this massive sea turtle, and just scooched the mama sea turtle over just a little bit so she wouldn't damage the other nest that she was ruining, and digging up another hole so that she could lay the other eggs and stuff like that. So it's just a very memorable uh, story of me and my friends trying to save the sea turtles.
oh my goodness. I love that. I love that. So, yeah, how can I turn that into a story for your business? So yeah, this is the analogy that I would make is, you could share that if you're on a discovery call with someone, if it might even be something that you share in a live on your social media, because I know you do lives on a regular basis. And you could just share this story of, I had this great trip with friends and on this great beach where it was known to be a sea turtle nesting area. And here we are thinking that we're going to protect the turtles from vultures and other things that are going to actually hamper their journey. And here we are having to take one mother turtle off of a nest of another mother turtle to protect that. And that's a completely perfect example of how things show up in our business when we're not expecting it. And we try to solve one problem when we should be looking at something else. And this is where we can get stuck in procrastination. This is where we can get stuck in overwhelm and don't know what to do. I thankfully had, 5 friends with me, so we were able to lift that turtle. And sometimes you need somebody to help you lift your turtle, and that's what I can do.
That was great. I love that.
I love to show people how you can really show up authentically in your business. People want to know who you are. They want to know what flavor it is you bring to your business in your values, and storytelling is a great way to do that. So they really make meaningful connections with your audience, and storytelling has all of this science-backed data about developing know, like, and trust, all of those things. So I'm so glad that you shared that story with me. I love sea turtles, so that was a perfect story.
Oh, good.
And I'm so glad that you could join us today, Jesse. Thank you for kind of persevering through the internet struggles
Yeah,
and the child who had to go to the washroom and the whole bit. I hope that he managed to hold it long enough.
Yeah, my wife came home just in time, so we're okay.
Oh, there we go. We're all good. I was ready to pause the interview and just talk away while you went and took him to the bathroom. But you know what? This is so fun because this is all part of being an entrepreneur. We often work from home. We have these things that come up in life. And this is one of the parts I love about doing these things live is it is real and raw. And that's how business is. So if you're feeling a little bit raw in your business right now, if you've got some overwhelm, if you're stuck on a project that you just can't get to, Jesse's the guy that you want to call. So you can find him at effortlessgrowth.co. Or Jesse, what's your handles on Instagram and Facebook? Where can people find you there?
Yep. Instagram is effortless space growth or __ growth. And then Facebook, just look up my name on Facebook.
Okay, awesome. And so I encourage you to check out that little template that he has talked about to see where you're stuck in your business. I know I'm going to do that. Reach out for sure if you feel like you need some help, because we always do as entrepreneurs. The journey is so much easier when we do it together rather than trying to do it all by ourselves. And if you're curious to learn more about storytelling and how I might be able to help you with that aspect of your business, please reach out to me as well. You can find me on my website is helenharwoodsnell.com, and you can find me on social media at Helen Harwood Snell Storyteller. So reach out to me if you've got some interesting tales that you'd like to share on Tuesday Tales as well on the podcast. Thank you for joining us. And again, Jesse, thanks to you for showing up today and sharing your story with the audience.
Thanks so much, Helen. I appreciate it.